Dr. Kevin Snyder is the only Toastmaster in the world who earned the accredited speaker designation in 2022 through Toastmasters International. He also recently earned the Certified Speaking Professional credential, one of the highest honors amongst professional speakers. However, Kevin is not a natural speaker or motivated person. As a teenager, he struggled through depression and even being arrested. Desiring to use his challenges and past experiences for good to help others, he started his career working with students and worked at several colleges and universities. Most recently, he served as the Dean of Students at High Point University. After several years of working on campus and earning a doctorate degree, Kevin knew he needed to share his story beyond just the classroom. This is one reason he knew he needed to pursue his own speaking and book publishing career. And this is when he joined Toastmasters and the National Speakers Association. Since Kevin's first presentation nearly 20 years ago, he now speaks professionally full-time and has presented motivational leadership keynotes and programs for over 1 million people through over 1,000 organizations in all 50 states and several countries. He also coaches aspiring speakers and wrote several best-selling books. One of those, Paid to Speak, outlines his process for how to become a professional speaker. Kevin is a multi-TEDx speaker, scuba diver, skydiver, and sailboat captain. He lives in North Carolina, USA with his amazing family. And fun fact, lived his childhood dream of meeting Bob Barker and winning big on the television game show The Price is Right. So please give a warm Toastmasters welcome to Dr. Kevin Snyder. Kevin, come on down.
Well, hello, District 95. It is such an honor to spend some time with you today. So excited that you showed up. So give yourself a round of applause. Yes? Showing up is important, but how we show up really determines our potential. So look, I'm so honored to be with you. My name is Kevin Snyder. I'm here in my virtual studio here in the North Carolina, US of A. This is where I'm located right now, just in case, in North Carolina, specifically a town called Raleigh, North Carolina. And I'm just so honored to spend some time with you all today to share some leadership insights that I truly feel will help you celebrate the past and embrace the future. And I wouldn't be with you if it were not for the Accredited Speaker Program. In 2022, I was honored to earn the Accredited Speaker designation. I was humbled to find out that I was the only Toastmaster in the world who received that award. Now, how many of you, by show of hands, how many of you have heard of the Accredited Speaker designation? Okay, if you have, raise your hand. Let me see. Now, if you haven't heard of it, well, now you have, because I want the Accredited Speaker Program to be a goal for any of you that want to speak professionally. It is an amazing program that will push you to be a better speaker, and I'll explain it in just a moment. I do want to give a little bit of an explanation on it, because a lot of Toastmasters don't know what it is or don't understand it. This is my calendar alone, my speaking calendar for this month. Because of the Accredited Speaker designation, it's allowed me to present for districts all over the world. And I'm so humbled for that, which is another reason why I love Toastmasters, because it's providing all of us opportunities that we would not have had otherwise. Would you agree with that? I hope so. And the distinction, what makes the Accredited Speaker designation unique is that accredited speakers don't then become professional speakers. No. Toastmasters who speak professionally are recognized as accredited speakers, meaning you're already speaking professionally. You already have some paid speaking engagements. So the Accredited Speaker Program recognizes speakers who have already reached professional level status in their careers. It does not mean to be you have to be a full-time professional speaker. No, it doesn't. So here's the eligibility for it. Check this out. You have to be obviously a member of a club in good standing, 25 speaking engagements within the past 3 years, just 25. Payment for 15 of those 25 engagements, one single 20 to 60 minute video presentation, and recommendations from 5 paying clients. So that might sound a little intimidating or like, oh wow, 25. Well, if you start now, and I wrote a book called Pay to Speak, it will walk you through that process. I went from 0 to 11 keynotes in 6 months, and 1 year afterward, I had a 6-figure speaking business. And I don't say that to impress you, but I say it to impress upon you the opportunity that you have, if it's a desire that you have for the right reasons. One of the reasons I love speaking is because it helps and really allows me to share my story, to help youth on battling depression, how to help professionals at all levels bring their best self to work and to home. This is something you're even considering, go ahead and go to Toastmasters.org and type up accredited speaker. Download the handbook. That's going to be your best resource because it's going to walk you through this process. And I actually created a specific link because I have several resources here where I've interviewed the accredited speaker co-chairs, other accredited speakers. I was on the TMI podcast, an interview with the international president. Plus, you can watch my convention speech and so much more. So I would encourage you go to paytospeak.biz/accred so that you can learn more about the accredited speaker program. And even if you're not interested in it, I would encourage you just to look at it, to kind of investigate, because it might spark some interest that you were surprised by. Okay? And by the way, I'm going to give you a few QR codes today. If you don't know what a QR code is, don't worry about it. But you can hold your phone up, just scan it, and it'll take you to that same website. Sound good? If that sounds good, say yes. All right, that sounded pretty good. Now, thank you again for inviting me. I love your conference theme. Absolutely love it. Celebrating the past, embracing the future. What a great motto that will make us better people, better speakers, better parents, better leaders. Would you agree with that? Absolutely. And when I heard this theme, and by the way, special shout out to Svetlana and to the district planning committee and to the district trio. I mean, all of them have put so much time in behind the scenes. And you have as well for even being here today. And as I was looking at this theme and thinking about how I could share content with you that might be helpful, and if you look at this picture here, what do you notice on the screen? What do you notice? Right? You see a blue sky. Say it out loud with me. What do you notice? You see a highway. What else? Green grass. Well, has anybody noticed the rear view mirror? And it has a purpose, right? It actually has value. Our past has value. So we need to celebrate that. But we also need to be careful that, hey, what might be coming up from behind, you need to be careful. But the bigger point is this. The past has a purpose, but our focus always should be on the future. Would you agree with that? So celebrate our past, but also embrace the future. As we're getting started today, and when I was thinking of your theme, again, celebrating the past to embrace the future, I wanted to share a leadership framework that will help us accomplish this. Okay? So this is a model that I created amidst the pandemic when I needed it the most myself. And it's called Becoming a Shift Thinker. Say that with me. Shift Thinker. Now say it 3 times really fast. Shift think. You got to be careful, right? So becoming a shift thinker is really how to be stronger than adversity. How to really have the right mindset to develop the right skill set. And the reason why it's shift thinker is this, because the pandemic, in my opinion, the pandemic made pivoting popular. How many of you, by show of hands, how many of you heard of the term pivot? Look around. You probably used it a lot, maybe still using it. Well, the pandemic made pivoting popular. Okay, say that 3 times. But it's true. Now, pivoting, it's a basketball term. I had never heard of the term pivoting in leadership or in organizations. It always was something I heard on the court because I grew up playing basketball. Well, pivoting has a purpose, and it's for short-term protection of the ball, right? Short-term protection. But in order to progress toward the future, in order to progress at all, you have to dribble. We have to shoot. We have to pass the ball. So that's a long-term requirement. And, if you want to bounce back, you got to dribble, right? You want to bounce back from a setback, you got to dribble. So pivoting, we go around in circles. At some point, we need to shift. Does it make sense? Now, think of a hamster in a wheel, right? That hamster's moving that wheel so fast, but where is that hamster actually going? Yeah, hashtag nowhere, right? It's going absolutely nowhere. And what we don't want to do is bring this into our clubs, bring this into our leadership, into our organizations, or frankly, at home. If you're taking notes, write this down. If you do what you've always done, you will get what you've always have gotten. And insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, yet expecting a different result. I believe with the right mindset, we're unstoppable. But sometimes we just need to shift. We need a perspective shift. And it's so helpful. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So we don't want to pivot. We want to shift. Okay? So let's dive into how do we accomplish that. And that's why this model is so important. It's not doing just one thing. And it's not doing one thing once. It's doing all of these things consistently. And I hope today it affirms in your mind what you already know. Think about that. It affirms what you already know. But what you know, yes, that's important. But what's more important is what you apply. Would you agree with that? So let's dive into growth mindset. Now, I believe there's two options in life. Fixed mindset or growth mindset. Which is more important, do you think? Which is going to move you forward? Well, hopefully you're already thinking growth mindset. Well, let's talk a little bit about growth mindset as compared to fixed mindset. A fixed mindset easily feels frustrated, whereas a growth mindset, wow, they're resilient. A fixed mindset resists change, whereas a growth mindset embraces and leads change. A fixed mindset's content with the status quo. A growth mindset continually wants to improve. A fixed mindset focuses on mistakes, whereas a growth mindset focuses on lessons earned. And the reason I call these lessons earned is because you would not have learned them otherwise. In fact, you had to make a mistake or something was a setback that you learned from, and you wouldn't have learned it any other way. So it made you better. So, my friends, is developing a growth mindset essential for success? What do you think? Yes. And here's why. It's the foundation. You know, a growth mindset is an approach to how we handle life, how we handle adversity. Our beliefs impact our actions impact our results impact our performance, and then it's cyclical. Think about that. So I truly believe this is the foundation. And mindset is so much down here. You know, there's no complete presentation without an iceberg. So here you go. Okay, insert humor. But people don't see what's underneath, right? They only see what's visible. But you and I know what, you know, this is really the tough stuff. This is where it matters the most. And that's why it's so important to say, look, I may not control the circumstances around me, but I can't control whether I desire to want to grow. You know, circumstances, again, they don't define us, they refine us. They refine us. And they provide opportunities that we would not have had otherwise. So it's a choice whether we just go through what's happening in life, or whether we choose to grow through it. And in order to grow through it, sometimes we've got to push through it. So repeat this with me. Repeat this acronym. Persist until something happens. How about that approach to life? Will it be easy? No. Will it be worth it? Yes. And when the circumstances are ideal and fertile, well, yeah, it's kind of easy to grow when everything's going well. But that's also where complacency can kick in and getting comfortable can kick in. And we don't want to do that because that's a dream killer. The number one dream killer is complacency. Now, the fertile soil, that's our mind. Our thoughts are the seeds, and what we plant will grow. I'll repeat that one more time. The fertile soil is our mind. Our thoughts are the seeds, and what we plant will grow. So we have to be very mindful that we're planting the right seeds. You know, Are you planting the right seeds for a growth mindset? I truly believe success does not arrive from circumstance. It arrives from what is within. So let's talk a little bit about how we can develop a growth mindset, even amidst adversity. Number one, ask yourself positive questions. Does that make sense? Again, your thoughts are seeds. What you plant will grow. If you ask yourself a negative question, you will come up with a negative answer. Well, here's some examples. What can I learn from this experience? How about that? What can I learn from this? Number two, how does this experience make me better? And then also, where can I share my experience to help others? How powerful is that? You asking yourself these three questions amidst a setback, adversity, or making even a mistake. Look at all the positives that you glean from this. The fruit that is there. That is absolutely amazing. So ask yourself positive questions. Don't ask yourself negative questions because you'll come up with negative answers. The second is this: surround yourself with positive people. If you're the most happy, most optimistic person in your circle of friends, I'd encourage you to find some or invite some new friends in. Right? That's another reason why Toastmasters is so great. You're surrounding yourself with people, hopefully, of like mind that want to get better at speaking. They want to get better in their leadership. Right? Also, look forward to something every single day. Every single day, look forward to at least one thing because that's going to help you through maybe that time of adversity. And then also, lastly, change the station. Realize you have the power to change the station, whether you keep listening to negative thoughts or whether you say, no, okay, I acknowledge those, but I'm not going to believe them. And here's why this is really important. Because I don't know if you've watched my convention speech yet. I always acknowledge and talk about my struggles growing up as a teenager with mental health. When I was 12 years old, I was diagnosed with depression, and I nearly died. I was also diagnosed with an eating disorder at a time where the doctors had no clue what to do with me. This was the 80s. I remember meeting with my counselor one day at one of my rock bottom worst times, and she knew that I loved music, so she asked me, she says, Kevin, a song comes on the radio that you don't like when you're driving home today with your mom. What are you going to do? You can change the station. Back then, at least. I mean, now you swipe up, left, right, thumbs up, thumbs down, what have you. But I realized, and what she was trying to help me understand is there was a power that I had inside me that I needed to discover that, yes, I can acknowledge I don't like that song, but then I can change it. And we can do the same thing. Just because we have a negative thought does not mean we need to keep listening to it. Think how powerful that is, right? And when we got in the car that day, my mom and I, guess what song came on the radio? Any Don't Stop Believin' fans? If you're a Don't Stop Believin' fan, wave your arms. If everybody does it, it does not look weird. Okay? But what I love about this song, Don't Stop Believin', is not just the number one song of all time. It's also the number one determinant of our success. But the challenge is, without a growth mindset, people believe their doubts and they doubt their beliefs. And then they wonder why something feels missing in life. So when our belief is stronger than the adversity that we face, we are unstoppable. And that's really what I want you to be thinking of right now is what is your belief system about yourself? Whether you can or can't achieve goals. What's your belief system about your speech? What's your belief system about your relationships? Whatever it might be. And I really want to encourage you to evaluate, do you have the right mindset to move forward, to celebrate the past and embrace the future? Now, the next principle that I want to share with you is about how to think differently. And I titled a book on this second concept because it is so powerful. We have to think differently. 73% of the average person's thoughts on a daily basis are negative. 73%. Now, some of you might be thinking, that's way too low. You don't know my spouse. And I don't know, but yeah, we need to think differently because our thinking is the problem most often until we discover how to make it the solution. Think how powerful that is. And if you'd like to download a free copy of my book, a free copy, it's on my website, kevincsnyder.com. Just spell Snyder correctly, or scan the QR code. You get a free copy of this book. It will be automatically sent to you. Let me give you a practical example of this. Something to use maybe in your clubs or with a team in your organization, even on the dinner table at home with your family on a napkin. Here's the challenge. I want you to connect all 9 dots, or try to, with 4 straight lines that are connected. Meaning you can't take your finger off the screen or off the paper if you were to write these 9 dots down. I'll give you about 20 seconds. Connect all 9 dots with 4 straight lines. Give it a shot. All right. So if you were successful, raise your hand. If you connected all 9 dots with 4 straight lines. Have you done this before? Maybe, right? Let me share with you how we accomplish this goal. It's actually quite simple. Draw a diagonal line up, then go down, over, and across. So with 4 straight connected lines, we achieve the goal, right? So the objective was to connect the dots. We were able to do that because we did what? Because we thought outside the box, right? We thought outside maybe of a comfort zone. And was it easy? No. And in life, no, it's actually difficult to go outside of our comfort zone because that means we're also taking risk. But what's most important is to realize by thinking different, by thinking outside the box, by thinking different than we thought before, we're actually able to achieve the goal, to achieve the objective. It goes back to what we started with today, that we can't solve new problems with old ways of thinking. So I want to encourage you to take some risk. That's one tip for speakers. Every single speech, I try something new. I would encourage you to do the same. You might be surprised at what you learn. And every time we go outside the box and we achieve something new, guess what happens to that box? That box gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And we become comfortable feeling a little uncomfortable. So when is the last time that you intentionally felt uncomfortable? Think about it. Intentionally push yourself to feel uncomfortable. I would encourage you to think about doing that soon if you haven't done it lately, because you might be surprised at what you learn. It's like adversity. When our belief is stronger than the adversity, we're unstoppable. Well, we can't let fear stop us either. Fear holds most people back, but the difference between extraordinary leaders and others is that they don't let the fear stop them. It doesn't mean that they don't feel the fear, but they feel it and they do it anyway. So if any of you have ever been skydiving, are there any skydivers in the room? Look around, or virtually. If you've ever been skydiving, give me a thumbs up or raise your hand. Right? This is my first jump. I'm strapped to somebody I do not know, getting ready to be pushed out of a perfectly good plane. And here I am, I'm falling down to earth, right? And already within half of a second, I go from the most terrified experience of my life. Why am I doing this? Oh, this was such a stupid idea. Within seconds, I am now feeling, oh my gosh, this is the most exhilarated I've ever felt in my life. This is absolutely amazing, right? And at about 5,000 feet, right, you look at your altimeter, they throw the parachute, I landed, I'm here today, right? And here's the question I want all of you in the room, or even virtually, posted in the chat. What did you want to do when you landed? Think about it. Post in the chat, what did you want to do when you landed? And to the people in the room, you wanted to do it again. And see, that's the whole point about thinking different. We have to reframe fear. Fear doesn't mean we're going in the wrong direction. It actually means we're probably going in the right direction, especially if it's something we've never done before. We're going to feel uncomfortable. We're going to feel that fear, that anxiety, that uncomfortability. But we can't let that stop us. So I would encourage you in your next speech, push yourself to try something new. Push yourself to really not intentionally feel uncomfortable without a parachute, but have a safety net and try something maybe you've never done before, because fear, all it stands for is false evidence appearing real. You've probably seen this before. And everything that you want in life is just outside that comfort zone, but you got to think differently about it. You got to reframe it. And one of the things that I experience quite often when organizations ask me to come in and speak is they ask me to come in and talk about change. Help us with our organization, because we got a lot of folks who they're struggling. A lot of issues in the workplace right now. You're probably dealing with those as well. But here's a quote I want you to be thinking about. We can change without growth, but we cannot grow without having change. Think about that. We can change without growth, but we cannot grow without change. So change is actually a good thing when we reframe it and think differently about it. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. It's what I want you to encourage your teams and your clubs to do. And Darwin said this about change. It's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the ones most responsive to change. Right? And as Toastmasters, where leaders are made, I would say this. It's about being responsible for change. How about that? It's being responsible for change. We can't be reactive to change. We actually have to be proactive to change. And if I had seen this slide here years ago when I was a teenager, my life probably would have started off a little different, because I assumed that success was always doing the right thing, that it was never making any mistakes. Well, what do you think that success arrow actually looks like? Show me by hands. What do you think that success arrow actually looks like? Right? It's the squiggly lines. And frankly, the success is in the squiggly, y'all. Right? Because you never give up. Right? Where is that arrow pointed? Right? It's pointed forward. It's pointed upward. And this is a quote here. Marie Follier says that success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. Circumstances don't define us. Success comes from within. And I love this quote too. An arrow can only be shot by pulling it back, so that when life is dragging you back with difficulties or adversity, it means it's actually going to launch you into something great. How about that? So if you've ever felt the squigglies, I've felt quite a few. We don't have enough time. But think of a squiggly in your life, something that you're like, wow. And did it help catapult you? Did you learn from it? Can you think differently about it? And here's one final example, and then we'll move on from think differently, because think differently is so important. But ask yourself this question. What is one of your proudest accomplishments? What's something in your life that you're most proud of? Think about it. And for how many of you was your proudest accomplishment something that was just easy and overnight? Anybody? No, of course not. Your proudest accomplishment is not something that just was easy and overnight. No, the things that you care most about are the things you're going to work the hardest for. Right? So we have to reframe effort. We have to reframe some of these things that make us question why we're working so hard towards something, or because it matters. So let's think differently. Let me give you one more example of this. 1954, Roger Bannister, he broke the 4-minute mile. Some of you might know this story. Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile. Did he have a growth mindset? Yes. Did he think differently? than other runners? Yes, he did. And catch this, in 1954, he was the first person to do it, and everybody else said it was impossible. Until Roger, right? Until Roger did it, everybody assumed it was impossible. Since 1954, thousands of people have been able to break the 4-minute mile because they saw that it was possible. Roger Bannister was a shift thinker. He had a growth mindset, he thought differently, and then he envisioned the new opportunity. So if somebody's ever told you that you cannot do something, have they? Did you believe them? See, what's most important is not what they say, it's what you believe. Think about that. So you are a shift thinker when you have these principles and when you apply them. He showed people it was possible. The no, all it stands for is a new opportunity. So the next time somebody says no or says, well, we've tried it that way won't work. Remember it as a no, a new opportunity. And he's one of many examples, friends. I mean, think about this. This is, again, what you and I have in common. We're across the pond from each other. But gosh, there's so many examples of this. Malala Yousafzai, she is the youngest winner of the Nobel Peace Prize because she advocates for women in Pakistan to have a right to an education like men. And years ago, she was shot in the head and left to be dead, but she survived. And she still speaks out to this day. Did she envision the no? Absolutely, the new opportunity. We got J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter, right? But you probably know the story of her as well, that she was a struggling single mom on the equivalent of what we call welfare here in the States. You call it benefits. Wrote one of the most successful book series of all time. And she credits her being at rock bottom for her success because she had nowhere to look but up. She envisioned the no. And she wrote one of the most successful books of all time. The series of all time. Up until 50 Shades of Grey. But that's a different program, okay? But look, my point is this. You and I are no different than any of these people here. You know, their accomplishments might seem pretty amazing, right? And they are, because they were shift thinkers. They thought differently. They had a growth mindset. They thought differently, but they envisioned the new opportunity. And we are no different when we shift our thinking. And these are the principles that help us do exactly that. So my fellow Toastmasters, are you willing to shift your thinking? Now, during that next speech, when you go home, right? When you're in the office, when you think about teams, when you think about your personal leadership, are you willing to shift your thinking? I hope so. So let me give you a quick example. There's a personal story. One of the things I share with you on how to develop a growth mindset is to always have something to look forward to every day. Well, years ago, my counselor asked me this question when I was going through my own depression. And the one thing I picked was being on The Price is Right. This was a television game show here in the United States that is extremely popular. And I made a decision really to watch this show every single day. And then it became a healthy obsession that I was going to be on the show. Okay? So growing up, my mom and I, we'd be shopping for groceries at the store. And she's shopping. What do you think I'm doing? I'm price checking, right? A teenager should not know the price of Metamucil or prune juice. That comes a little bit later. I go to college. I arrange my college schedule. All my classes, I arranged them around The Price is Right so I could watch The Price is Right every single day. Even had a teacher. I wrote a paper on The Price is Right where the teacher gave me a grade of C me after class. And when I went to go see her after class, she holds a copy of my paper up in front of my face and says, Kevin, in all my years of teaching, this is one of the best papers I've ever read. But you have a problem. You're obsessed with this show. And when Dr. Adams, when she told me that I was really good at writing, what do you think I started to believe? That I was good at writing. So it's amazing when we show recognition to others, how that can impact what they believe. So one of the things I'd encourage you to do is think of every single person in your club. Identify something about each one of those people that they're good at, a quality about them that you appreciate, a trait that they bring to the table. And what do you think I want you to do? I want you to tell them. Watch what happens with your club engagement. Watch what happens with your relationship. And imagine if everyone in your club did that. I mean, folks, that is one way that we bring engagement in our clubs to a new level, when we actually show further appreciation, and not just through feedback after a speech, but intentional feedback constantly. So I set a vision. I was going to shake hands and meet Bob Barker. Now, I went to college at UNC Wilmington, which is on the East Coast of the United States. The Price is Right is filmed in California. So I ordered tickets for the show. The tickets came back. It was the same date as my college graduation. So I had a choice to make. Go to my college graduation or go out to be on The Price is Right. What would you do? Pick a small country if you're ever going to do a cross-country road trip. I skipped my graduation, drove across the country. The morning of the show taping, we pulled up to the parking lot, and the parking lot was empty because the show was canceled. I mean, this was the sign that we saw on the front gate, and I was devastated. I was devastated. And on that drive back home, 3,000 miles, I just remember telling myself countless times how stupid I was for having this stupid dream of wanting to be on The Price is Right. And I believed it, and I gave up until I got home. And my mom whispered in my ear, "Don't stop believing." And she encouraged me to go back out and give it one more try. So a couple weeks later, I bought a ticket. I flew back out. And, well, watch this.
Here it comes from the Bob Barker Studio at CBS in Hollywood. Television's most exciting hour of fantastic prizes. The fabulous 60-minute Price is Right. Kevin Snyder, come on down. Actual retail price, $16.25. Thank you. Kevin, my man, listen to what Rod has to tell you. Kevin, you have a chance to win $10,000 in cash. $10,000 on the punch board. My boy, you are there with $5,000. $5,000 richer. You stop. He's going to quit right now. Well done. Benjamin E. Wisely.
All right, how about that? Give it up. Give it up. And my friends, look, whether you even know what the Price is Right game show is or not, just imagine living your dream, doing something that you set your mind and heart to, and not only did you pursue it, but you visioned it. And here's the point, and this is the message that I want to leave you with. In order to live a dream, you have to shift your thinking. You have to believe in it. You know, when you believe it in your mind, it becomes only a matter of time. And I lived a dream because I had one. And this changed my life. The Price is Right has turned into my signature story in every single presentation that I give. And if it weren't for this dream that I pursued, I wouldn't have the ability to have this other dream that came to me with professional speaking. And I'm sharing that with you in hopes that you also will live your dream. Right? What's your Price is Right? Think about that. What is your Price is Right? Do you have one? Did you have one? You know? One thing you and I have in common is that we have a choice every single day in what we do next. And I hope that Shift Thinker inspires you, but also empowers you with some concepts that will help you shift your thinking to live your dream as well. And really just achieve your full potential, to celebrate the past and also embrace the future. But there's one missing piece. It's the action, right? I mean, think about that. Because action changes things. If you're there in person, repeat that after me. Say, action changes things. Action changes things. And vision without action, it's just a daydream. Right? So at some point, we can think, we can dream, we can set goals, but we've also got to have a plan. And that plan is only as good as the execution and the commitment to follow through with it. And yes, will there be maybe some self-doubt along the way, some anxiety along the way, some adversity? Yeah, expect it, right? That way you're not surprised. And if it doesn't scare you a little bit, it's not big enough. That dream is not big enough. If you know how you're going to accomplish it, it's not big enough. But don't let not knowing the how stop you. And if nobody else has ever told you your dream is crazy, maybe it's not big enough. I want you to come up with something that is so grand and something that maybe has been on your mind in the past, but you didn't know how, or you thought it was kind of silly too. This is your moment. This is your moment. I can think of no better theme, no better motto, no better opportunity celebrating the past and embracing the future, if you're willing to shift your thinking. So if you'd like to get a copy of this slide deck, would you? All you got to do, scan this QR code or type up this website, which is talk.ac/Kevin Snyder. Enter code D95 and you will get this entire slide deck mailed or emailed to you immediately. Okay? So scan the QR code or type up that website. And if any of you would like to become an accredited speaker, like I mentioned, look, you got an opportunity here to look into it. I'd encourage you to go to this, accred, paytospeak.biz/accred. If any of you would be interested in pursuing TEDx speaking, I actually have a training program on this. It includes a training video, it includes a TEDx tracking spreadsheet, a sample application, and more. Go to paytospeak.biz or just scan that QR code. And for those of you that are interested in professional speaking, it'd be an honor for me to support you in any way. I have a copy of my book, Paid to Speak. I believe it's on Amazon that you can actually download there or even order a print copy. And when you finish the book, I actually provide for you a complimentary coaching call where you can ask me any questions. So look, how many of you would like a free copy or like a copy? If you want a copy of any of my books, or catch this, and I'm only doing this when I'm talking to Toastmasters groups. If you want my TEDx training, normally it's $350. Okay, normally it's $350. My online course with Paid to Speak, normally it's $450. And I've got every other week I do an Ask Me webinar where you can ask me any questions that you want. And each one of those is $75 per person. And there's nothing I'm selling here, because here's why. Nothing. I value Toastmasters. I really want you to take action here. Or if you want any of my books, any of this here that interests you, you want it, in the spirit of Mental Health Awareness Month, I'm giving away all those items if you do one thing. Make a donation to the Foundation of Hope, which is a nonprofit organization that researches mental illness. They provide seed grants to researchers studying mental illness at local universities. The first year they were founded was the first year I started getting treatment. One of their faculty that does research was my counselor who saved my life. Everything I do, I'm contributing to them. A portion of every single coaching session, professional speaking engagement, and this entire month, everything I'm giving off here goes directly to them. So all you have to do is this. Make a donation in any amount to the Foundation of Hope. And afterward, just email my team at that email address and request which of these items that you would like, and we will send those to you. So I will leave this on the screen just for a moment. You can also go to the website kevincsnyder.com/hope if you don't or can't scan the QR code. And then simply just email me and somebody from my team with which item that you would like. So I would be honored if you supported the foundation in that manner. And I'll let you know, District 95, how many of you did and how much we raised. A couple days ago, we raised over $1,400 for the Foundation of Hope in a district presentation. I would love for y'all to match that and beat it. And again, if you want the slide deck from today, we'd be absolutely honored for you to get this. That way we can stay in touch as well. A couple different ways for us to stay connected. I wish you all the best. Celebrate the past. Embrace the future. Thank you again to the planning committee and the district trio. Hope to see you soon. Hopefully next year I can be with you in person. We'll see. Take care.